I'm a fashion and textile designer. I have been one for the last 23 years. My journey has been always fascinated with craft and art. Growing up in India, living here, especially here in Auroville, there was always a fascination. So my love for anything that is handcrafted and slow fashion, I caught on to it when I was rather young, when I was 18, 19. And throughout my journey as a designer, in India as well as Europe, I was in search of something more authentic in how we celebrate matter. This was always there. For a long time, I worked in very big companies and corporate structures, which taught me many disciplines, which I still use today. But always there was this intrigue, there was this aspiration to learn these crafts from different parts of the world where I would be. When I moved back to India in 2015, 16, around then, and I had also completed my corporate journey as a designer, it was very clear that I wanted to do something that was homegrown, which was the story of us, of our aesthetics. And it took a few years to find the right medium, to find the right people, and to tell the story of Hibiscus Heroes. What we are dealing with right now is the pollution of land and water. As long as you use chemicals, there will be a pollution. And this was most confronting, of course, back home. When I traveled in the area of Tirupur and Salem and Erode to see what River Kaveri looks like in that part of the world was extremely confronting. I saw little kids playing there in the muck. I was a young mother then. It was not fair, what we are doing to our land, to our people, to our resources. This was the more troubling issue. But what excites me is how my grandmother or my great-grandmother make clothes if she were a designer hundreds of years ago. She would use all the ingredients that are in her bioregion, in her backyard pretty much, right? And that's what intrigued me. How would they dye clothes? How would they print? And luckily in India, we still have these traditions, we still have the knowledge, we still have the craftsmen who are custodians of this art. But it's very little and it's quickly fading. So it became a social responsibility as a designer, as well as a mother, that I need to make sure the next generation has all this knowledge available for them, not just available, that they will take it forward, that they will revive it, they will rediscover it, and they will add on to it. It will be a cultural storytelling. This was the aspirational part which said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do plant-based fashion, which means all our ingredients from fiber, fabric, processes, dyes, prints, everything will be ingredients from plants, especially plants from our bioregion. And we are lucky, we live in the south of India. It's the most tropical, rich bioregion. Everything grows here. So we just need to figure out a way to be respectful in how we use it, and also at the same time, celebrate it, to really celebrate it as our cultural identity. When you talk purely on a textile level, dyeing, printing units, when people work with chemical dyes, the first person that gets immediately attacked by it is the people who work with it, because they work day and night. It's in their skin, it's in their lungs. Second, it is the nature around them, the water. Third, it's the consumer. Our skin is our biggest organ. So we absorb it all the time. Little babies absorb it all the time. We all do. Now, this is one huge fundamental difference, right? When you're working with natural dyes, the well-being of the employees, the printers, the dyers, big one. You don't just work in clean and safe environments, you also get the benefits of working with natural dyes, because most of these dyes have Ayurvedic meanings to it. No, they are used in Ayurvedic Siddha medicine. For example, something like annatto. I use annatto for my yellow. Annatto is actually used in food as well for coloring the orange color. No, annatto was the first known lipstick ever used. The annatto tea has many properties for inflammations, for issues with hormones and all that. Same with madder. Madder has excellent qualities, the root of madder. They are used in Ayurveda and Siddha. Indigo. It's very well known. I don't know if this is any urban legend, but I read it somewhere ago and I thought it made sense to me that in the Middle East, when they would wear in the olden days the burqas and the fully covered clothes, it was dyed in indigo. Because indigo is cooling for the skin. When you're walking in the desert and there are all these sandstorms, indigo is antibacterial and indigo cools the skin. So it makes sense they would cover themselves fully in indigo before the real black was invented, no? All of these plants, each plant has something to offer. Most of the traditional craftspeople who've worked, generational craftspeople in natural dyes are very aware of it. They use it. You know, I've seen natural dyes, suddenly they're hurt, they have a cut, they just take a bit of indigo or they take a bit of annatto or whatever, they just put it on their skin because they know it's gonna heal them. This is beautiful. And this is how things should be, right? The work we do has to nourish us on all levels. Physically, psychologically, spiritually, and financially. This is how it should be. And I'm very happy that with what we do, hopefully all these elements are covered. It started off with me meeting the right artisans, and I only work with one or two who I trust because I met many. And there are only few who are absolutely authentic, who really stick to the essence of what is natural. Everything is natural, you know, you can't just skip one of the steps. So we found such partners, and first they told me, this is what we have. This is the palette. This is what nature gives. So can you work with this? I said, more than enough. It's of course not like conventional fashion. Conventional fashion has a much bigger variety, but we don't need that. I'm happy with the palette I was given. I'm happy with the palette I could play with. So for me, it was not a sense of restriction. Actually, it was a sense of direction. And it has helped the brand to have an identity, a handwriting that people recognize now. They know when they see this, that's the Hibiscus Heroes color. And secondly, I also come from the school of working for big brands, which was a good thing in the sense that you need to realize that your customer who's loyal to you also expects you to come up with new ideas every season. You can't be in a comfort zone. It's your creative responsibility to do that, right? And it's fun for me as a designer too. But the way we build our collections in Hibiscus Heroes is ageless in a sense, because whoever bought things from us from our first collection can still style it from our latest collection. This is again a very big sustainable approach, right? And more than that, I find it so fascinating that the woman has found her style. She's found this look that she appreciates, and somehow when we create such lines, it becomes more and more clear, right? And I know the Hibiscus Heroes woman, how she dresses, what she likes. So and let's be honest, I do it for myself. That's why it's also for me very fun and easy that way. And then I have found many lovely, inspirational women who support me in this, yeah. The question over here is, what kind of plants? We are not using plants that are food. That is one of the first things I learned from one of the master craftsmen, very wise old man. They said, best to use plants that are growing in our bioregion, which are rain-fed. Another thing, you don't cultivate. It's the most fascinating thing about natural dyes, you know? A lot of it that we use are growing right here, around us. And they're weeds. People clean them out and throw them out, you know, so we use them. There are certain parts like indigo. Indigo is cultivated, right? It's again responsible, conscious way of consuming. homegrown designers, artisans over here, they are much more conscious about nature. We respect nature. It's Mother Nature that feeds us. And also, our colors, our color of the season is literally color of the season. It's not what's cool, it's what nature gives us. This is a big one, you know. When I worked with the artisans, for me, it was such wisdom that they passed. They said color of the season is when Palash is in the season, you make coral. When Vidalia is in the season, you make green. So keeping all this in mind, I think the foundation of this kind of a craft or knowledge is very deep. It's very spiritual as well. So I don't see it can go wrong. But nevertheless, every individual, even a brand like me, needs to be very careful how we use nature, how we support back that system. It's also so fascinating that there is so much knowledge still. We live in a small village around. The amount of knowledge every villager has about the plants that they grow is incredible, but it's hidden. You know, they're so quiet. They surprise me. I'm like, you knew this? You didn't tell me? They would be like, yeah, this leaf, I can just rub it on my hand if I have a cut, or if I have a bad belly, I can chew this. It's normal. It's not even for them like something special, but there are other generations or urban population which has completely lost this connection. So I think this is also something very important for us to understand, that there are certain reasons why we have certain plants where we live. Those plants are also connected to us and our well-being. So yeah, it's very exciting I'm still discovering. I'm in a very infantile stage, I feel, because this is something very, very profound knowledge that I would like to learn. There is definitely a support system. And it is very surprising where it comes from. Not always from where you expect it to. That's what I realized. When I quit my corporate job, a big part of the society, family, friends, were quite concerned. There was also a lot of fear initially, you know? Not just with family, friends, even people in my own industry, where they would tell me, but natural dyes are a failure in the sense you can never get them right, the colors fade or they bleed, or they never, you know, consumers will never take you seriously. In the end, it might sound all wonderful, but in the end, if your product is not functional, you will not last a season. It's many seasons ago. I'm still here. And you know where the support system came from? From Auroville, firstly. On material level, on psychological level, on spiritual level, on a community level. No doubt. I could not have realized this anywhere but here. The second thing is the immediate community of fellow natural dyers, craftsmen, craftswomen, fellow designers, even individuals like you, who have really come in at times when I thought, I'm not going to pull it off, or I'm going to crumble down. And there have been many such moments. And most importantly, my clients. If it wasn't for them, the brand wouldn't stand. And I have immense gratitude, especially for people who have not just supported me, but celebrated the brand, you know, who have shared the story with others, who have told their friends, go visit, go support, go buy, go find out. I have also had a lot of support from universities and colleges, where a lot of the younger, newer generation of designers are absolutely confident that if they want to step into the game, this is the only way they will participate, which is very different to when I graduated. And these young interns that I have here, I find them fascinating, amazing, because they kind of are where I am now. They kind of got there a lot quicker. Their journey in terms of experience and knowledge maybe will take a while, but in the sense of knowing how they want to participate is much faster. So there have been all these elements that have been support systems, and many more to go, I'm sure. I somehow feel we have not managed as a collective to be represented in the textile ministry, to have some kind of a space, a platform, a voice. The second thing is a big challenge that most of the craftsmen do not want to teach this, or their children do not want to get into it, because there is not an economical benefit. They would rather go make iPhones, which is okay. I'm not judging it, but I'm saying if some other people would move into this field, it would keep the balance. But if all of us are moving away to create matter, which is not a part of our heritage, this is a failure on a cultural level. So how can we address that? You do need subsidies, you do need help from the government, from the state, where we can let such things flourish. And the other thing, what I find important is also we need more R&D, more investment to take this forward. As I mentioned, technology. We do need some kind of support where how can we make this more accessible? There is the myth that natural dyes are very expensive. Partly true, partly a myth, because we have not figured out how to make it accessible, how to make the processes easier. If we can do that, it's the added advantage. We would have more people wear it. And third is we need the world to know we exist. Is there a way the textile ministry or the design schools of India or any kind of cultural support, including patrons, can create a beautiful natural dye festival twice a year where they invite people from all over the world? We need buyers. There are people out there who want to have our products. It's just that they've not found us, you know? These are the places where the government or institutions can support, or patrons. This is how crafts have lasted so long. It has always had patrons. The Rajas, the Maharanis always have immensely supported this kind of art. Hence you have Jamdani, hence you have natural dyes, hence you have all kinds of crafts with metal, with wood. So where are the patrons now? We need those patrons. I'm sure they are. I'm not denying it. They are there, hence we still are standing strong. But the accessibility to this information. Also, you know, where we need help is there are many brands or craftspeople who claim that they are natural, but they're not. I know personally people who mix chemical and call it natural. So where is the authenticity? Where is the kind of acknowledgement or some kind of a certification? Is there an external body, a neutral body, which will say, these people, they have everything, you know, there's a checklist, there's an intensive study of it. There's nobody as such. So things like this, we can be a lot more organized, but I do think commercially also there's a great opportunity here. Culturally, definitely, knowledge-based, definitely, but commercially there's a great opportunity. But we need to get together. We can't be on our little islands. This doesn't solve the problem. It defeats the purpose, actually, if we all sit in our little islands and do our thing. We want this to grow. If we want this to be economically viable, if we want to have abundance, we have to be a collective. Hopefully that will emerge soon. You know, I am filled with gratitude that I have found my medium, the medium of plants and flowers and seeds. Right now it is showcased in the form of textiles, clothes, colors, but I want to dive deep into it. I'm really absolutely fascinated by the knowledge of how these plants are useful on many other levels. This is one aspect knowledge that I want to learn and I want to share. The second thing is I would love one day for Hibiscus Heroes to become a knowledge-based studio, which would mean that people would come here, they would discover, they would learn, they would have a curriculum where this knowledge would be presented in a nice, structured way, where we will have new generation of craftspeople, natural dyers, designers, textile designers will take this forward. I really hope for that. And I don't know in what form it will be, because we already do that anyways. I have at least around 5 to 6 interns every year who we teach, who we train. But I think it could be a lot more in-depth, a lot more structured, a lot more collaborative, to have more people from the field interact with us. create programs with us, maybe even collaborations with institutions. Because I tell you, the brand, I wish for it to live as long as it can. The journey will go on. But what I am much more committed to is this knowledge of natural dyeing and plant-based adventure, I would call it, because it doesn't stop with clothes. It could be anything, that this continues, this flourishes, this goes on. So that is the aspiration. Thank you so much. It was really pure joy and inspiring for me again to talk about this whole thing and to remind myself why I started this whole thing. So thank you guys very much. It was really fun.